Some real Kent faces reminisce about growing up Scottish in half an hour on BBC Scotland after we welcome back Des and his guests for a brand new series, Breaking the News, with some strong language.
This is Breaking the News, the show that breaks the week's news and asks four opinionated panellists to put it back together again. I'm joined by four brilliant comics. On my right, we have Sam Lake and Susie McCabe, and facing them are Amanda Dwyer and Liam Withnail. In the news this week, Ryanair flight diverted from Prestwick to Manchester during Storm Amy, reportedly landing with 6 minutes of fuel left. The airline apologised, saying that if they'd known this in the air, they'd have spent the extra 5 minutes selling scratch cards. At the age of 30, pop star Dua Lipa has passed her GCSE Spanish. Now almost fluent in the language she said she learned with the help of her auntie, Duolingo. Right, you've met our teams. Let's crack on with round one. This is the Broken News round, where the teams have to guess two major stories of the week that have been mashed together into one single news headline. So, Susie and Sam, can you tell me what this is all about?
The First Minister, John Swinney,
has told world leaders
it was time to be more assertive about
President Trump.
The SNP leader promised to break what he called the logjam in
US
politics in his speech to
jubilant reporters
in Aberdeen.
It's the SNP party conference.
And that is bang on. That's the right answer, Susie. Well done. Yes, it was the turn of the SNP to hold their party conference this week in Aberdeen. In a speech to party members, Scotland's First Minister, John Swinney, reiterated his commitment to Scottish independence and announced a new network of walk-in GP services that he said would be up and running within the year. What did you take away from the SNP party conference?
Well, I think with a party conference, like, the whole point of it is you're supposed to, you know, inspire confidence in your members, give them, like, a strong sense of a bright future, give them some hope. And for some reason, the SNP thought the best setting to do that in was Aberdeen. And I say that even I can make fun of Aberdeen as what we call a POE, a person of Englishness. Even I am allowed to make fun of Aberdeen. I used to say that when I was growing up and all of the other boys at my school wanted to look at pictures of naked girls, I would look at it and it would remind me of Aberdeen, in the sense that I know exactly how to get there, but I've absolutely no intention of actually going.
Liam, what about you? What did you take away from the SNP party conference?
As mentioned, the GPs and opening late and everything, and it's that way of booking stuff at the moment. If you want an appointment in this country, you have to phone them between 8:30 and 8:31 in the morning. You have to be ready with your date of birth, blood type, your GCSE results. You have to give them 3 lines of Shakespeare in French. When you finally get through, then you have to describe your embarrassing medical details to a receptionist. Luckily, doctors' receptionists are among the most friendly women on planet Earth. Then if you do finally get an appointment, it's in 3 weeks' time, by which time you're better or dead.
Susie, obviously one of the big features of John Swinney's speech was him reaffirming the commitment to independence. Can you see another independence referendum under John Swinney?
I hope so, but you know what I do see? The resurrection of all these folk that go, we decided in 2014 it's a once-in-a-generation vote, and you're going, nobody wrote that down. That wasn't in the thing. And I thought, see if you're out in your car and you take a wrong turn, you don't travel for 10 miles going, well, I've made my decision now. Absolutely no U-turn.
You'll see the politicians making promises all the time during conference season. But what about you, Amanda? What is something that you have promised that you will do?
I always promise myself every new year that I'm going to stop being such a people pleaser. I'm terrible. I can't say no to people, right? And I was up in Aberdeen earlier this year. It was Easter time, and on Easter Sunday, I was walking through the city centre, and they had there was dozens of families. They were all dressed lovely. They were all singing and dancing, celebrating Jesus rising from the dead or whatever. And I was just standing at the side, pure chuffed for them, right? And a woman come up to me and she was like, "Excuse me, do you pray to Jesus before bed?" And I was just like, "Aye." She says, "Do you want to book a wee place in heaven today?" And I was like, "What's this? Some sort of holy travel agent?" She goes, "Do you want to book a wee place in heaven? It's only a wee prayer, right? And instead of just being a normal person and saying, 'No thanks, I'm not actually in any way religious,' all I could do was go, I'm not actually from Aberdeen."
And there we have it. Sam and Susie, you get 2 points for that. Right, Amanda and Liam, over to you now. What was the other story we were after?
I think it's Trump at the International Peace Summit, isn't it?
Yeah, I'll take that as the right answer. Yes, US President Donald Trump and the leaders of Egypt, Qatar and Turkey have signed a declaration aimed at bringing peace to Gaza. While there has been praise for the president in getting different parties to this point, a lasting peace in the region remains uncertain. In the aftermath of the agreement, Mr. Trump's allies have called for him to receive the Nobel Peace Prize, despite the White House chastising the Nobel Committee for not awarding this year's prize to him earlier in the week. Trump was instrumental in signing a peace plan for the Middle East, the most eager he's been to sign anything since that birthday card for Jeffrey Epstein.
He's at that International Peace Summit and he's using it to batter into the only woman that was on the stage. He was saying to that Georgia Maloney, "Oh, you don't mind being called beautiful, do you?" It's like, you're trying to, help world peace and you're treating it like a Saturday night up the dancing.
There you go, Donald Trump. But, Liam, he's brought everyone to the table. Does Donald Trump deserve some credit here?
Does he deserve credit? It's kind of context, isn't it? Like, my dog sometimes eats her breakfast too fast. And when she does, she vomits. And then she'll have a little sniff of her own vomit. And if I don't get her in time, she'll try and eat back her own... Yeah, it's disgusting. So now when that happens, I have to say, no, sit, don't. And then I go get a biscuit and a cloth. So if she hasn't eaten the sick by the time I've come back, she gets a biscuit. And that's the level of credit I think Donald Trump deserves for doing anything. Well done. You haven't eaten your own sick. Have a biscuit.
Oh, Sam, what about this then? Donald Trump often criticised, but does Trump deserve some credit here?
I don't think he actually cares about ending the suffering of any people. He's done it because he wants the credit, and his whole career he's wanted us to think that he's this master businessman. He makes these great deals. He's a really good negotiator, and it's like, can you call him a good negotiator? Yeah, in the same way you can call ketchup on toast a pizza.
Oh, love that. Does Donald Trump deserve the Nobel Peace Prize? Amanda?
If Trump deserves the Nobel Peace Prize, then Fred West deserves to host Ground Force for his gardening skills. You know what I mean?
Susie, what about you then? Obviously, Donald Trump's saying he deserves credit for bringing peace and deserves prizes for it. But, Susie, what do you deserve credit for?
I'm just teetering on the brink. I deserve credit for simmering, just simmering, permanently simmering, just a wee pot lid waiting to go. But I'm keeping control of it, and yesterday I kept control of it, right? Because yesterday, so, as you know, Des, my wee dad passed away, right, as you know, and so I try and spend a whole day and night with my mum, and she stays over and all that kind of stuff, right? So I'm looking at taking her on a trip. We're looking at Switzerland.
And well done. At the end of that round, it is 2 points apiece. Now, much of our news is about public opinion, so to find out what stories people are talking about, we spoke to two friends of the show. Weather legend Judith Ralston and Great British Bake Off winner and cookbook author Peter Sawkins. So, Amanda and Liam, what is our Judith on about here?
I think the one thing about what's going to happen next year is that it will inspire people to get out and about and try different sports. I'm really excited.
The Commonwealth Games are coming back to Glasgow.
That is the right answer, yes. The countdown is on to the 2026 Commonwealth Games in Glasgow. And this week, the schedule and ticket details were announced. Games organisers say they expect the Glasgow crowds to be electrified, though I think the correct term is tasered.
A very Glasgow Commonwealth Games, isn't it? Because it's skint.
Yeah.
Like, there is no cash, right? It's like 2 pence in the back of the sofa. So what they've done is they went, how do we make it Glasgow? And they go, 8 days of boxing, followed by bowls. It's like the ascent of a Glasgow man, isn't it? Square go, square go, square go, bowls.
Sam, what about you? Will you be going to the Commonwealth Games?
No, I've been scarred ever since the sports days at my school, and I was horrified to learn when I watched the Olympics, the Commonwealth Games, that professional athletics, surprisingly fewer beanbags involved, and none of those cones, and there's no obstacle course. Like, I look at someone like Usain Bolt and I go, yeah, okay, you can run pretty fast, but could you do that in a potato bag?
Obviously, Amanda, Glasgow did host the Games before, 12 years previously. How can we make the Commonwealth Games different from the last time we hosted it?
I think because it's our second time hosting it, they should be able to add some really obscure, extreme Scottish sports. Because I don't really like sport because I can't take part in it, so I don't get it, do you know? I'm like, I could never do that. But sports that I could compete in, I'd love. So you should have, like, Chappie. Because it's the Commonwealth, they'll probably get it like its full British name, which is Nicky Knocky Ninders. Disgusting.
No.
Aye, how horrible is that?
Not Chapdoor Runaway.
Aye, Chappie, aye, but they call it Nicky Knocky Ninders.
Can I say where
See
I'm from?
your country. See your country.
Do you know what? It gets worse than that. Where I'm from, we called it Knockdown Ginger, which is...
Racist?
Yeah.
And you, by default.
There we go. We're delighted to have the Games back next summer. They will return the Commonwealth Games to Glasgow in 2026, and that was, of course, the right answer. Yes, the men's 100 metres final will see Jamaica's new world champion, Oblique Seville, compete, as well as his closest rival, Perpendicular Mallorca. Over to you now, Sam and Susie. What do you think Peter is talking about here?
This is something I think I'm quite aware of at this point in my life. There's more competing interests and challenges. I think for me, this was quite an interesting story to read, and it actually gave me a bit of a kick up the backside. It doesn't really matter what you're doing, so long as you're connecting.
Is this that thing about ghosting your friends?
This is the research that looks into how we let go of our friends throughout our life. It suggests that we lose around half of our friends every 7 years, particularly in moments of transition between different stages of life. But what is important to you in a friend? Sam, what about you? What do you value most in a friend?
I do like it when people can make me laugh and know when I need a laugh, even if it's like quite like a dark period or something. Sorry to lower the tone, but my mum passed away when I was a teenager, and I remember my mum is a wonderful Spanish woman, lovely Spanish heritage, and we had her cremated. And one of my friends said, and when they handed you her ashes, they do it in the traditional Spanish way and present it to you in that little sachet that comes in an old El Paso fajita kit. Now, I can say that, but it's what I needed to hear at the time.
But that's the sort of stuff that gets you through.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
It's that kind of honesty thing, isn't it? It is like in a kind of similar thing at my dad's funeral. 4 of my friends carried his coffin, and my dad was a below-the-knee double amputee. And as they told me, when they were bringing out the coffin to put it in the shoulder to turn it and all that, the big chief undertaker went, all right, folks, if we just want to turn 45 degrees and we'll take Alan in feet first. To which my mates went, no, you're not.
Real friends, that's what we're looking for. Talking of friendships, Amanda, what do you value most in a friend?
I think kindness, you know, somebody who's got your back. I remember once I peed myself. And one of my oldest friends, one of my best pals, Danielle, she took off her jacket, her zipper, and she wrapped it around my waist, zipped up in my waist, so that the kids were away when they see the very obvious wet patch on my jeans and make fun of me. They were our kids, but, you know, they can be so mean. That's why just having your back, I think, is nice.
It's a real friend there, isn't it?
Real friend.
Liam, what about you? We're talking about friendships then. What do you value most in a friend?
My mate Brian's got a van.
Yeah. Instant applause from the audience.
People know, guy of a van, you never know when that's going to come in handy. And he'll even use it to come pick you up at the airport. What a friend.
Research suggests that we lose half of our friends every 7 years because of major life changes. Some people can lose all their friends on a single night out, shouting, I'm no splitting the bill, I didn't have the garlic prawns. And there we go, that is how we do it. Ghosting your friends is, of course, the right answer. 2 points go to Sam and Susie. This is Breaking the News on BBC Scotland with me, Des Clark. Now, this round is all about who's in the news. I'm going to play you a clip of a mystery person, and you just have to tell me who it is. So, Sam and Susie, you're up first this time. Who is this?
Me as a person, I don't like sharing any of my stuff. I'll have chicken korma, prawn jalfrezi and half, and I will not share with anybody. I don't want anybody coming near it.
That is the very talented Joanna Page.
That is the right answer. Well done. And this story is unbelievable. Gavin and Stacey star Joanna Page has said that she was told at drama school that her performances were poor because she is Welsh. Page, who played Stacey Shipman in the hit comedy, trained at the Royal Academy of Dramatic Art, RADA, in London, where she says she was constantly told she couldn't act. One of Joanna Page's Gavin and Stacey co-stars was also told that his performances were poor, but that's because he's James Corden. Obviously, we're talking about the accent for Joanna. Potentially could have held her back. Ended up being an asset for her, and she got one of the biggest roles of her life. So, when has your accent done you a favour? There's one for you, Sam. When has your accent done you a favour?
So much like how in my normal voice I sound very camp and that limits what roles I can play, when I speak Spanish, because my family's Spanish, I have discovered that my accent does unintentionally butch me up a little bit. Because if I introduce myself in this voice and I go, hello, my name is Sam, nice to meet you, that very camp, right? But if I say to you, bienvenidos, see, I don't have to say any more than that. You're already very horned up, aren't you? It sounds like the person who does the narration for, like, sort of, like, Latin American soap operas. The guy at the beginning was like, anteriormente in los besos y los lágrimas.
What about this then, Susie? When has your accent done you a favour?
I was in a train station in Surrey after doing a gig. And where the train station was, there was a really posh area and then a not so posh area. And I was just sitting on my phone and two lads came over and they started chatting to me. And as I look up, I realised one of them's pulled out a knife and they're like, aye, give your phone. And I just looked up and I was like, fuck off. And off they went.
Amanda, what about you? When has your accent done you a favour?
Never. No once. If anything, it's a hindrance. I was on the phone to Talk last week, right? And I was trying to sort something out, and I couldn't get past the bit where they find your account because she couldn't understand what my surname was. So I was like, Dwyer, and she was like, God, you're going to need to spell it. And she obviously wanted me to do that phonetic alphabet thing, which I don't know either. So I was like, right, it's D for disco, W for Walter. And then I was like, why? And honestly, I was so stuck on why. I was like, why for... And after what felt like half an hour, all I could think to say was, yum yums. And she was like, is it 2 Y's then? And I was like, no. It was terrible.
I love when I see people say words that are not from where they're from in their own accent. Americans are the best. I used to work in a pub in Edinburgh, and I remember one day this American family walked in, and their first day in Scotland, and the dad, pure baseball cap American dad, he'd obviously like Googled. You know when you go on holiday and your dad Googles like local words and phrases? But it's Scotland, right? So he went up to the bar and went, "Excuse me, young man, do you sell scran?" And my colleague, this like Glaswegian guy, just looked at him and went, "Aye. We sell scran."
I love that. There we have it. Yes, Joanna Page was told at drama school that her performances were poor because she's Welsh, which goes to show how good an actress she is, as she's actually Faker Coddy. Right, Amanda and Liam, it's your turn now. Who is this and why are they in the news?
The older they are, the more interesting they are. I'm so glad I wrote for soaps. I'm so glad I wrote The Archers originally. That was my first job when I was about 25.
It's Sally Wainwright.
Well done. That is the brilliant writer, Sally Wainwright. She created Last Tango in Halifax and Happy Valley, and now her next drama, Riot Women. The new show follows 5 menopausal women who start a punk rock band for a local talent contest. In some cultures, the menopause is celebrated. For example, here in Scotland, if a woman has a hot flush, everyone gathers round to warm their hands.
Me and my mum were talking yesterday, and my mum was casually saying to me, because we're talking about the menopause, because we're at that point in our life, right, where we need to have these womanly things, right, like chats. And she says, "How are you getting on with the menopause?" And I was like, it's a laugh. And I said, what I'm really enjoying is having to get up and strip the bed in the middle of the night and put on fresh bedding because I'm just lying there pulling me in sweat. What a hoot. And my mum went, "Do you know, Susan, I glided through the menopause, and I swear to God, my head nearly came off my shoulders. I was like, you did, we didn't."
Amanda, what will your midlife crisis look like?
I actually think I had my midlife crisis 3 years ago when I spent thousands of pounds to go back to uni to do a master's degree in TV screenwriting. And I've not wrote a thing since the course finished. Ironically, my midlife crisis was I thought I was the next Sally Wainwright.
Liam, what about you? What will your midlife crisis look like?
Well, I was never in a band, but I always wanted to be. So I feel like now would be the time to get a band going, but like a throwback to the sort of music I liked when I was younger. It was indie sleaze when I was sort of 17 and when I was learning guitar. So I'd like to do an indie sleaze band, but in Scotland. So indie sleaze in Scotland. That'd be the band name as well, or ISIS for short. I'm going to join ISIS.
Sam, what about you? Would you have a midlife crisis? If so, what would it look like?
I don't know what it would look like anymore, because I used to think that if you were going to have a midlife crisis, then what would happen is, as a man, you have all of this extra money, you buy a fast car, you surround yourself with a bunch of younger, attractive people, but there's a cost of living crisis, and I can't drive, I don't have a driver's license. So it'll just have to be me and my mates sharing a bus pass, I guess.
Susie. Just try and picture the scene. If you were ever to have a midlife crisis, what would it look like?
See, up to the age of 45, the doctor will say that you're not menopausal, right? So you go to the doctor and you're like, "Doctor, I seem to be sweating profusely more than Alan Carr and Traitors." And I'm flushing. I've got mood swings. Sometimes I just want to turn around and punch random people square in the face. Do you think I'm menopausal? And they'll go, oh, you're only 45 in 8 weeks' time. No. And then see, as soon as you're 45, you will crawl into that doctor's with 2 broken legs and they'll look at you and go, it's the menopause.
Well, there we go. A celebration of life, midlife crisis, and of course a celebration of the brilliant Sally Wainwright and her brand new project, Riot Women. Sally Wainwright's writing is incredibly relatable because it tackles some of the biggest moments in life that most of us go through, from the menopause in Riot Women to falling in love in Last Tango in Halifax to facing up to your grandson's psychopathic father in Happy Valley. Well done. 2 points go to Amanda and Liam. And it's time now for our final quick-fire round, which is all about deciphering the numbers in the news. I will read out a headline. All the teams have to do is fill in the blanks. So get ready, teams. When we run out of time, you'll hear this.
They think they look so good, they don't.
That's makeup tycoon Bobby Brown there, talking about our panellists this week. So fingers on your buzzers and away we go. What is to end after 40 years? Liam.
Is it the reconstruction of Northbridge in Edinburgh?
Part of the scaffolding's off now. They're starting to get there. It's not that. What is to end after 40 years? Amanda.
The DFS sale.
What is to end after 40 years, Susie?
Rangers search for a new manager.
The answer we were looking for is this. MTV is to end after 40 years. The channel showing rolling music videos is to shut down at the end of this year.
I think they look so good, they don't.
Oh, there's a klaxon. Bobby has browned. It means it's all over. And at the end of the quiz, our winners this week are Amanda Dwyer and Liam Withnail. And commiserations to Sam Lake and Susie McCabe. And we'll leave you with the breaking the news. Breaking news just in. Researchers at Cardiff University say sucking peppermints can increase alertness in people who have a cold. Critics of the study say if it's hyper alertness and a sore nose you're after, you may also want to try cocaine. And the competition watchdog says vets should be forced to publish price lists so pet owners can see costs up front and shop around for the best deal. One vet is already offering dog owners a neutering bog-off deal. That's Boz off, get one free. The news is broken. I've been Des Clark.
Hi, I'm Amy Irons.
And I'm Stephen Mill.
Join us for The Saturday Show for 3 hours of chat, guests, music and sport.
We'll be kicking off your weekend live from 9 a.m. on BBC Radio Scotland and Sounds.